Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the anime movie Lou Over the Wall on Netflix. And I didn't really enjoy this movie. Mainly it deals down to with story that I have the most problem with, also kind of the animation. Not that it's horrible by any means, but once you watch Devilman Crybaby, and I watched that before I watched this, you're just like, okay, that was kind of freaky and trippy. What kind of freaky, trippy stuff are we getting here? We don't get really much into it, but it's not my usual kind of style. Not that it's bad, it's just usually its stylistic flourishes pop up in kind of like the oddest of points. And I'm just like, okay, why was it done like that? Certain points it actually works out very well and works with the tone or what's going on. But it's like, okay, eh. My biggest problems are with the story because it kind of goes all over the place and kind of just adds in kind of things. Like at first you're thinking it's just the school stuff, and then all this other stuff gets brought into it, and you're just like, oh, okay, all right. It's not like it adds a whole lot of stuff, but a lot of side stuff comes in. It's just like, oh, okay. I kind of wish that and that were taken out and just kind of just nixed to kind of focus and tighten this up. Because we're introduced to the main protagonist that we're following, Kai, as he had done this kind of like little video thing on the internet. People liked it. He made this like song with like noises and all that kind of stuff, and then he took it down because somebody from school figured out it was him. And of course, he's being told to study a lot by his dad, and his grandpa's like, "Don't play that music near the water and all that." And of course, we get the background lore that they have an adversarial relationship with merfolk in this town because they thought they were eating people, and they took one up on a hill and put it in the sunlight and it died. Then like this town was flooded or whatnot, and kind of like a revenge thing. And it's like, oh, okay, because evidently mermaids in this with their folklore follow the same kind of rules as vampires, and that direct sunlight kills them. Now granted, I don't mind that fact because there's all different kind of mythologies and everything out there. It's just it's just said, oh, direct sunlight kills them. I'm like, why? Creatures of the night, like vampires, I kind of get that. It's just, I'm like, okay, so are mermaids nocturnal? Are they usually so deep down that sunlight would like puff them, like puff them, blow them up, like all that? I'm like, okay. And so they're just told not to go too close to the water, and there's like this giant cursed wall thing. It's like, okay, cool. That's kind of in the background, but we see Kai is pretty much trying to get dragged into a band with this girl Yuho and her friend Kunio, who is fucking crushing so goddamn hard on her. It's kind of crazy because that's pretty much all it is to it. It's like, oh, okay, they want to do this band thing, and she wants to be the lead vocals and everything, and Kunio just pretty much wants to be together with her, even though he's going to be like head priest. I understand that like there's different rules with the head priesthood and stuff, but he's got to hide that he's in the band, and we don't really see any kind of like repercussions for that or whatnot. It's like, oh, okay, but they eventually talk him into it. He really doesn't give a crap. He doesn't want any kind of high school to go to. His mother and father are divorced, and she lives in Tokyo. We get the one dude who's like a fish processing guy talking about like her and how she's like a dancer in Tokyo, but that's about the amount of information we get. It's like, oh, okay. Like, we never really get a concrete reason for why Kai is as withdrawn as he is. We just are known off the bat that he's listless, pretty much depressed, sad, and doesn't really give a shit about anything. But he goes out and he pretty much is roped into the band to do the keyboard and kind of background with the drums and all that with his computer. And while they're there, they start hearing like this other singing and everything. But that's not until after Kai's, he's kind of a mean asshole, but he's not really. It's portrayed in a manner that we're supposed to be like, oh, he was really mean, but He was just giving constructive criticism that she's not really as good on vocals as she thinks, and as she's trying to sing, she's not doing her bass as well as she should be, which makes sense because you're doing two things at once. So unless you get really fucking good at it, you're gonna mess up on one or the other. She, of course, storms off, and Kenny's like, "Why the hell did you do that?" And of course, they just start doing their stuff, and then the mermaid Lou pops up and sings and everything like that. Well, they decide to go back. He apologizes to her. They run into like poachers and they're messing with him. He drops his phone. They get like blasted out by a thing of water. It's like, what the fuck? But they're able to get home. And of course, Lou pops up some more, and we start learning more about him. Kai starts hanging out with her, and they start doing stuff with her. The band is like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And Lou just wants to be friends, pretty much. She returns Kai's phone to him and all that. She can speak English, well, Japanese or whatnot. She can speak his language. And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But I mean, of course, if you lived close to a population like that, you probably start to pick up on at least certain things. But she could speak it pretty fluently. And also in the background, we start seeing all this kind of stuff. We see that this one model chick came back to the town. A lot of people coming back to towns and doing stuff that they really normally wouldn't. So it was really kind of an odd messaging of like, do you try and go for your dreams? Do you kill your dreams? Because there's mixed messaging here. Because two people pretty much were like, yeah, I was going to leave this town and everything, but nothing kind of worked out. And even all of that stuff in the town isn't really working out for him either. I'm like surprised all these people are still functioning. And then you've got that Kai's grandpa is an umbrella maker, and he lost his mom. His grandpa lost his mom because he thought a mermaid ate her. And we got an old lady who's got a beef with mermaids because she thinks that they ate her lover. Spoiler alert, they're both just mermaids. Other spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure they both get turned into mermaids. The chick does, I know that. The grandpa dude goes in and hugs his mom, and I think he gets turned because his picture is then near, like, the picture of, like, dead loved ones, so I'm pretty sure he's out there. It's like, oh, okay, why does being bit by a mermaid turn you into a mermaid? And again, I don't need, like, a very complicated lore shakedown of this stuff, because as Kai is like taking her through a tour of the town because she wants to be friends and everything, they save all these dogs, and she like puts water in there. She goes in, bites them all, turns them into mermaids, and takes them out to sea with her. And I'm like, that would really fuck up the ecosystem, because then you've got more animals messing around with it. It actually does, because the fishermen start losing fish and everything, and then like Lou's dad comes up and like is a consultant for them. It's really fucking weird, because then he kind of becomes this weird kind of Totoro type thing. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? It just starts going all over the place. I'm like, what? And this other dude, Yuho's grandpa's like, hey, let's do the Merfolk Island thing, because they were practicing on essentially an abandoned theme park on an island like outside of the bay. And of course, they do a band thing. Lou goes kind of crazy with the dancing, and for some reason it's able to make everybody else dance. I'm like, all right. Granted, I could just suspend my disbelief. I'm just like, when things are popping up and it's just like, just go with it, I'm like, all right. Why is this making everybody dance? Of course, this inflames the grandpa being like, okay, we can use this, and this will work, and the merfolk thing will work out and everything. But everybody's just pretty much trying to use the merfolk for their own advantage, because you even see Lou's dad kind of like helping him out with fish and everything. And the weirdest fucking thing is he kind of bites the fish, and then they eat the fish, and then the body is still fucking alive and goes and fucking walks out. Like you see a fucking defleshed fish bone thing fucking walking out. I don't know why this occurs, and there's no deeper meaning to it. Then you get to a point where Kai's like, I don't want to do this, because they were going to have a big show on the Merfolk Island, and you don't know why he doesn't want to do it. Is he afraid? does he not want to show his music to people? Does he not want Lou to be abused this way? But they do their thing, and you find Yuho finds out that they're not even really playing the songs, that they just shove out these like professional players. Lou's doing all this stuff with her dog mermaid friend and gets freaked out by the lights, and they go out, and we see that Yuho kind of ran off because she wanted attention. I'm like, you kind of suck as a character. She just has a little hissy fit and then runs off and smashes her phone and throws it into the water, which leads the whole town to thinking that mermaids ate her. And they go on the warpath. They capture Lou, and this, of course, sets off her father because, well, not initially, until they pretty much try and fucking sunlight her to death for no goddamn reason. Well, they're thinking they were going to do it because it would be revenge for Yuho, but Yuho possibly like, hey, I broke my phone. I was going to tell people that I'm okay and everything. And it just kind of like, we then get this sequence of him running through the street in broad daylight and then kind of protecting her, and then they like slam a giant thing down. I'm like more surprised why he was able to survive that long in sunlight. But then we see that the curse is activated and the town starts flooding, and then the mermaids help the people, and this like the stone thing that's separating the island from the bay gets broken down. They do give umbrellas to the merfolk to kind of help them, and then they disappear. It was a really fucking weird movie, because I'm like, oh, I don't understand what message you're trying to give, because Yuho's decided to go to a Tokyo high school. Okay, cool. I really don't care about your character. Kunio's like doing whatever he's doing. Kai's like, I'm just gonna do whatever I do. It's like, okay. It was very weird and very kind of disjointed. I'm like, what are we trying to see here? What? It just kind of goes all over the place of what focus kind of goes for where. I'm like, okay, what's your message? What's your theme? What's going on here? Because I thought Kai was supposed to be the kind of one there. I'm like, okay, cool. But even he doesn't have kind of a clear thing at the end. I mean, granted, he does sing and do his music, and he says he's going to do that. Okay, cool. But that doesn't... I mean, it's like, okay, is that it? That's not a bad message, but the way it's presented and executed just doesn't work very well. I'm just like, alright. Cool. And his two side friends are just barely fleshed out. They're only there for reasons. It's like, okay, cool. I don't know, this was a really kind of weird one. I wouldn't recommend it because the plot just it's not kind of fun to really keep up with. And the action, there's not really any action sequences, and there's not really deep character development. I wouldn't really recommend this, except if you're like, you got a little kid that wants to kind of watch some crazy stuff going on. This would work for them. And again, if you want something on in the background to keep you distracted from something, or just have some white noise on, sure. But there's, again, better stuff out there. I really didn't care for this. Is it the worst thing ever? Hell no. I've seen other things that I'd be like, I will never watch that again, ever, and have blocked that out of my mind. This is just like, I really wouldn't recommend anybody watch this, and just because there's better stuff out there. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.